probably wondering where I've been, if I've fallen off the earth, died, got buried, or what. I haven't been building or working on boats lately, and so I haven't made any videos. I've been trying to decide whether or not to go ahead and start on the Granville Bay, or whether to do a intro on how to build the Hudson Springs pram. I'm probably going to go ahead and do the Granville Bay and do the Hudson Springs pram this winter. I'm going to do the Granville Bay. One of the things that I do in my computer is, this is the final piece of paper that I come up with. And a lot of times designers will give you basically just cross sections on the eighth chart, and then you build the frame and you go from there, and with a few rough ideas of where to build, to install the interior and all the other panels and stuff. But the way I build is I come up with an idea, and over the years I've been refining designs. So this is the offshoot of another design that it was going to be a flat bottom boat, a skiff, but a friend of mine said he liked the round bottom boats like on the lower bay and on the O&P pod and those. So I went ahead and redesigned it so it's got a rounded bottom on it with a short little skate. But I'll go through with my computer and I'll draw up each panel. I'll start out with an arc, and each panel will have two endpoints on the drawing. I use a 2D drawing program, an old thing called ProDraw that's probably was new in 1990. And then I'll put in two points between the stern and the bow on the top and the bottom of each panel. And then these, because of the way I draw them with Bezier curves, they'll have handle points on them. So when I click on the handle, I can pull out an arm that goes back and forth along a horizontal guide bar that I put in. And as I pull each of the handle points on this one point on the side out, the curve changes. You know, it'll get fatter in one place or it'll skinny down. If I pull the stern handle out a little bit, it'll widen up or it'll cut down. So I do that until I get an idea of what I think is right. And then I'll go through, before I get to this final sheet, I'll come up with these. All the countless models. What do we got here? We got an O&P pod. Probably a long time ago by the shape of it. And then you'll see on the bottom as I get there. Once I get the model done, then I start marking it up. What I like, what I don't, what's obvious. Change the endpoints around so that close up the seams. Maybe there's a straight line along the seam here that doesn't look right. I'll go in and adjust one of the arc handles to fill that out. But when I adjust one side of a panel, I have to adjust the matching side on the other panel, so it gets interrelated. So you'll have stacks and stacks. Here's another one from the O&P. We got here this is my Plizer, which is a 14.5-foot plywood version of the Laser, and I want to build that someday. It's going to be a fun boat, I think. What I got here, some more O&Ps. Back from the very early days. And flat bottom boats, nut hatch, the pudgy, a whole bunch more O&Ps. There's probably 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 rejects in the O&P line. So I tried some of those things you can download on the internet. They're all flat bottom boats, or if you get a fully formed boat, it's just a nightmare to try to figure out how to get a shape out of it. And it wasn't worth my time. And then even though you got a hull that was semi-formed, semi-rounded, it still gave you a list of points for the stations for doing it the traditional way, and it didn't let me see what it looks like, because I'll take one of these models when I get done with it, like this guy, and I'll hang it in my kitchen breakfast nook. And I'll look at this thing for weeks on end before I finally decide that the final one is the final one, and it may not be the final one, but eventually it comes down to where you just have to give it up and go on with it. So we got that. I got this, and there's not too much I can go into on the design. It's one of those trial and error things that you just have to get a feel for. Some of my early boats, if you look at some of those early O&P hulls, it's like, what the hell am I doing? But eventually you get some ideas and you start seeing how things go together and the curves and how the program works, or the drawing program works, and you start finishing out the hull the way it looks. And I have to say that I am proud of all my boats. They don't look like they were something that was made out of a cardboard box with a pair of scissors and some tape in about 10 minutes. I go to great lengths to make them look well, so that when you spend all your time and money to build this thing, you're going to have something that you're proud of, and then people that look at it will say, wow, what the craftsmanship you had. So after this, when I get done building the hull, I'll take this and I'll fully form the hull, wire it up, tape it and gel coat it, and then I got to go in and figure out where all the interior panels are. And that will be part of the next video, where I go out and do my water tank tests with my scale models and my scale people, and I balance the boat. I know that a boat is going to float in a certain angle. A little boat can change drastically depending on how big you are, how much gear you have, how big your whoever's going out with you is, whether it's wife, grandmother, grandfather, kids, whatever. The weight becomes critical, and I can only assume certain things that you're going to do to balance this thing out. So we'll get into that next on the next video, how I do tank tests. And I found that after my initial boats, the hulls that I'd finished and floated them with people in and around them, the 8-foot nuthatch, I had to change the seating. I'd had a cross seat in the middle, but it doesn't work for that small a boat when you have somebody sitting in the stern seat. So I had to switch it around to a 4.5 seat like the Pudgy has. So then you can balance out depending on whatever the weight is, and you can move the oarlocks depending on however big you are, or whoever goes with you is. Yours may vary from what I have. So once I have that information, then I go and figure out where the seats go, position on the hull, starting from the stern, and then I'll go in and lay out those panels, and then we'll get into that. But the next thing coming up will be a tank test with all my models. I have an idea of where they float at on the early models after I finish them and float them. So now I have a good idea of how they go, and then after doing the 10-foot nuthatch and its tank tests and a couple other boats, I know that they're on, and then my placements will work with people of standard weights. Americans anymore may not be standard weights, and so I use oversized, what do they call that, those McDonald's supersized McDonald meal people now to float my boat. So if you're lighter, the boat's going to be higher. You're going to have more freeboard, so you're going to be okay. But if you tend to be on the American side, and the boat's going to float lower, I want to make certain that it's not going to float too low. So I'll add some more volume to the boat so it comes up. So I guess that's going to be the end of this. And thank you all for signing up to watch my videos. And I will start doing something in the future and get an idea of why I'm not doing anything. I got this. I got my T-Max last December, and I've been riding the hell out of it all summer long, and I'm going out tomorrow for another 300-400 mile ride. So I'll be getting the tank tests in, probably video another week or two from now, and we'll go from there. Bye.